Picture this. Apple's most puzzling laptop on the market just got a thrilling upgrade. It's now the pioneer showcasing the all-new M5 chip. This isn't just any device. It's a gateway to exploring whether innovation compensates for its quirky position in the lineup. But hold on to your seats, because the debate over its value is about to unfold in ways that might surprise you. If you're hunting for a Mac laptop recommendation, the entry-level 14-inch MacBook Pro often slips through the cracks. It squares off against the 13 and 15-inch MacBook Air models, which are considerably more budget-friendly and deliver performance that satisfies most everyday users' needs. The base Pro model lacks the advanced Pro or Max series chips, which boast extra CPU cores, superior graphics capabilities, and enhanced memory for dedicated professionals or heavy-duty enthusiasts. Yet, this affordable Pro holds appeal for specific demanding users. Priced at $1,599, it's the most economical route to Apple's top-tier laptop display, featuring mini LED tech for richer colors and deeper blacks, a fluid 120Hz ProMotion refresh rate that makes scrolling and animations feel buttery smooth, and an optional nano texture matte finish that's delightfully glare-free. Unlike the MacBook Air, it includes a built-in cooling fan, which traditionally leads to steadier performance over time without the dreaded slowdowns. Plus, it's Apple's most accessible option, with 3 Thunderbolt ports, an HDMI slot, and an SD card reader, all handy for connecting multiple devices without juggling a mess of adapters or a cumbersome docking station that would overcrowd the Air's limited 2 ports. If none of these perks sway you toward the basic MacBook Pro, no worries, it's not for everyone. The fresh M5 edition barely tweaks the laptop beyond swapping in the new processor. So if the M3 or M4 variants didn't impress you before, this probably won't flip the script. However, it's the inaugural Mac shipping with the M5, Apple's latest chip from its 5th-generation lineup, offering a sneak peek at upgrades potentially rolling out to nearly all their other Macs, with a few exceptions like the Mac Pro. So even if it's not your ideal purchase, you might find the 14-inch MacBook Pro intriguing as a demo of this new powerhouse chip. Let's dive deeper into the Apple Silicon MacBook Pro saga, now entering its 5th chapter. Apple has stuck with this laptop blueprint for roughly 4 years, debuting it alongside the M1 Pro and M1 Max models back in late 2021. For those transitioning from older designs, remember, Apple recycled the classic Intel-based frame with the Touch Bar for the initial M1 and M2 entry-level Pros. Here's a quick rundown of the key updates. This Starter Pro is exclusively offered in 14 inches, a jump from the prior 13-inch low-end version, though part of that real estate is claimed by the top-notch display cutout. The thin screen bands flanking the notch are functional for the menu bar and its icons in macOS, but they're off-limits for actual app windows. The device maintains uniform thickness without tapering, and its edges are sharper and less curved than before. In comparison to the 13-inch Pro, the 14-inch model matches the thickness, but tips the scales a bit heavier at 3.4 pounds versus 3, while being slightly broader and deeper. For many working pros, the bigger screen estate, restored HDMI port, and SD card slot largely offset the minor increase in bulk. It also packs 3 Thunderbolt 3 ports, double what the MacBook Airs have, and brings back the convenient MagSafe charging connector. That said, it's worth mentioning that the 14-inch Pro weighs almost the same as the 15-inch MacBook Air. If a larger display is your main priority, the Air might still edge it out. The bundled charger connects via MagSafe on the laptop side, but you can keep using USB-C chargers, docks, monitors, and other gadgets to power it up if that's your preference. I have zero complaints about Apple's latest laptop keyboard. It's consistent across the MacBook Air and Pro series in terms of key arrangement, spacing, and dimensions. If I had to pick a difference, the Pro's keys feel marginally sturdier and more enjoyable to type on, with a trackpad that's just a tad more responsive. The sound system outshines both MacBook Air models too, delivering richer bass and a wider dynamic range for audio. But the real selling point for choosing this budget Pro over the Air boils down to the screen. The 120Hz ProMotion technology ensures silky smooth visuals. The mini LED panels offer boosted brightness and contrast, and that optional matte nano texture finish is available. I don't usually fret about reflections on my MacBook Air, but switching to a nano texture screen always leaves me envious of it. If the boosted refresh rate and matte option, a $150 add-on to an already premium device, don't resonate, or if they're out of reach financially, this MacBook isn't likely your match. The 13-inch Air is lighter, the 15-inch Air is bigger, and both cost less. Yet we're not far removed from the M2 Base Pro, which lacked these extra ports and premium screen features. But here's where it gets controversial. Before snagging one of the current M4-powered MacBook Airs, the benchmarks from this M5 MacBook Pro could hint at whether delaying a few months for an Air update is worthwhile. Is the screen worth the extra cash? That's a debate sparking heated opinions among users. Diving into the M5 chip evaluation, we've conducted M5 benchmarks in our M5 iPad Pro review as well, but running macOS instead of iPadOS unlocks greater testing options. More performance tests, several high-level games, and command line access to examine power consumption and efficiency. To recap the M5 specs briefly, it's built from the same foundational elements as the M4, including 4 high-performance CPU cores, 6 efficient CPU cores, a step up from the 4 in M1, M2, M3, 10 GPU cores, and a 16-core neural engine tuned for machine learning and AI tasks. The M5's enhancements are nuanced rather than raw speed or core boosts. Firstly, there's a 27.5% jump in memory bandwidth, soaring from the M4's 120 GB per second to 153 GB per second, thanks to quicker RAM and improved chip interconnects. For integrated GPUs, memory bandwidth often acts as the primary bottleneck before core count, so this upgrade directly enhances graphics output in a nearly proportional way. Apple has also integrated a neural accelerator into each GPU core, distinct from the neural engine. This aids targeted tasks like Metal FX upscaling or frame generation, which previously relied on the neural engine, reducing delays and freeing it for other duties. The company proclaims over 4x peak GPU compute versus M4, accelerating local AI language models and image creators. This gain stems largely from GPU refinements. Per Geekbench AI, the neural engine is just about 10% faster than the M4's. A testing caveat: the M4 here was tested in an iMac, not a MacBook Pro. Across generations, we've seen that actively cooled base M-series chips perform identically in laptops and desktops. Comparing M5 to the passively cooled M4 in the MacBook Air isn't a perfect match, but against the iMac's M4, it is. Each Apple chip era has seen modest to moderate gains over its predecessor, and M5 fits the pattern. We noted 12 to 16% boosts in single-thread CPU tests, 20 to 30% in multi-core scenarios, and around 40% in graphics benchmarks and the Mac-native Cyberpunk 2077 test. One outlier, the GPU-heavy Blender rendering benchmark, showed 60 to 70% improvement, indicating it particularly benefits from the bandwidth upgrades or new accelerators. These gains compound effectively. The M5 often doubles M1 speeds and approaches the prowess of older Pro and Max processors. The M5 MacBook Pro lags behind the M4 Pro and will trail the upcoming M5 Pro even more. Still, its CPU typically outperforms the M3 Pro, with GPU nearing parity. Multi-core CPU eclipses the M1 Max. Single core is over 80% faster. It doesn't match graphics from any past Max or Ultra chips, but for CPU-centric tasks without exceeding 32 GB RAM needs, it impressively rivals Apple's Elite Silicon from a few years back. Not long ago, such progress was standard industry-wide, but Intel, AMD, and NVIDIA have slowed consumer CPU-GPU advancements. with Intel and AMD recycling old designs for basics. Upgrading a 6 to 7-year-old PC yields gains, but for 3 to 4-year-old ones, it's hit or miss. If there's a drawback to the M5, it's that performance leaps correlate with higher power use during intense CPU loads. macOS's Power Metrics tool recorded 28 watts average in handbrake encoding versus 17 watts for M4 in the same task. Comparing power across manufacturers or generations via software is tricky, as reporting might differ. But if accurate, it suggests Apple is ramping up clock speeds for extra power. This aligns with TSMC's 3rd Gen 3nm process, likely N3P, being a subtle evolution from the M4's 2nd Gen, N3E. TSMC states N3P offers 5% more performance at equal power, or 5 to 10% less power at same performance. To hit the bigger gains claimed and measured, expect increased total consumption. For perspective, M2 and M3 averaged around 23 to 23 watts in our encoding test, far below past Pro Max chips. Per Power Metrics, M5's efficiency lags M4 but exceeds older gens. Apple's overall edge over Intel AMD's top offerings persists. A capable chip in an awkward laptop, the entry-level MacBook Pro has perpetually straddled a middle ground, overlapping with MacBook Airs while missing the faster chips of larger Pros. The M5 variant perpetuates this tricky heritage. Many will still prefer M4 Airs. Yet it's a fine machine, and if the display is paramount, this budget Pro builds a strong case. The $150 matte display fee is irksome, but it's exclusive here, and the superior panel with quicker ProMotion makes everything glide smoother than on Air screens. I still view it as a niche pick. Pricier than Air, slower than full Pros, but screen-focused buyers should contentedly enjoy the performance and connectivity. This MacBook Pro excites me more as an M5 showcase, eagerly anticipating M5 Pro, Max, and possibly Ultra in other Macs. The M5 has the highest sustained power of any tested N chip, but Apple's efficiency history, especially M4, allows this while staying far more efficient than rivals. In return, you get a blazing fast processor, matching or surpassing many prior Pro Max models. For those lingering on late Intel Macs or aged M1s, it's a tangible leap, rarer these days in tech. The good M5 proves Apple's evolution from M1, delivering reliable performance. Sleek, practical build with an excellent keyboard, trackpad, immersive speakers, handy ports, and Apple's finest laptop screen. Nano texture display option is stunning, banishing glare entirely. The bad, tough to endorse unless the ProMotion screen is essential. Slightly heavier than comparable models, nearly matching the 15-inch Air's weight. M5 draws more power than M4 under load. The ugly, steep costs for RAM/storage expansions, plus a $150 push for nano texture. Andrew is a senior technology reporter at Ars Technica, specializing in consumer tech such as hardware and OS reviews for Windows and Mac OS. He resides in Philadelphia. 4. And this is the part most people miss. Does Apple's focus on screen quality and chip innovation justify the MacBook Pro's awkward niche? Or is it just overpriced for casual users? What are your thoughts? Do you side with those who swear by the Pro's display despite the cost? Or agree it's better to stick with a cheaper Air? Share your opinions in the comments below. I'd love to hear if you think Apple's strategy is genius or a misstep.